Hey, this is Timmara signing on with the final part of Dark Souls 2, Scholar of the First Sin. Last time we went and defeated Vendrick, and after doing some running around because I missed something, and was given a crown that keeps us from going hollow. And after that, we went to the Throne of Want, where we defeated the Throne Defender and Throne Watcher, and now Nishandra showing her true form as a being of darkness. We have to defeat her, and there's something beyond her as well. But I didn't realize you were standing right by this door. Oh, you're so cute.
Already complete. My name is Shanalot.
Shanalot.
The dragon gave me this name, for I was born with none.
Yeah, and I've talked about this before, since she was
contrived by men.
Yeah, she was an experiment by the king's brother, but raised by the dragons, which was also an experiment.
But they failed. I did not come out as intended. Fate would not be bested, and men were cursed once again.
The experiments were to create something that would not get caught in the cycle of death.
Knowing that you will take the throne and lead the fire.
Well, you don't know I'll do that.
The first flame and the great soul. Put Nishandra to rest.
Will do, baby. No problem. Anyways, but yeah, she was an experiment. Basically, what the king and his brother was trying to do is trying to figure out how do you break the cycle of death, fire, and dark, because the thing is, even in, like, say, the events of Dark Souls 1, that's when the first flame was already dying. And you could have chose to relight it or walk away and bring about the Age of Dark. Well, even if you brought about the Age of Dark, the embers of the fire and the devotion and the dedication and the belief that the fire will save humanity based on, you know, basically the propaganda Gwyn and the Kingseeker Frampt have been peddling, the people would still find a way to relight the fire. And by doing that over and over again, because that belief in the flame is so strong that even bringing about the Age of Dark, it keeps getting shortcut or undercut and shortchanged by the Age of Fire, starting over and over and over again. And so, the Vendrick and his brother, whose name I forgot, I thought it was Aldia, but I think I'm wrong, they tried to figure out, well, what was outside of the cycle of light, of fire and dark? And it was the ancients, the dragons. So they tried to create beings that could maybe do something to change the cycle, but it wasn't enough. And yeah, the ancient dragon, Shanalot, were part of these experiments, and you notice there's a connection as well. Shanalot and Nishandra, and learn. The point being, you know, the Na in her name is the Emerald Herald, another part of the pygmy of dark, or the furtive pygmy, and therefore a being of darkness. Which I think that's very valid. But if my theory is correct in that these parts of darkness that came into all these kingdoms and tried to either, basically these pieces of darkness that became women and tried to become queens of the respective kingdoms they came to, Dren Lake, the Sunken Crown, the Iron Crown, the Ivory Crown. Well, the Ivory Queen, the Queen of the Ivory King, she was fear. She represented fear and just didn't want to harm anybody and sought comfort in the king that she lost when he went to go fight the Chaos Flame. And Nishandra, epitome of greed or lust, as she's trying to get to the first flame in order to gain power from it. The other two, what is it, Alana, I forgot, and I don't remember the name of the Old Iron Queen. I don't know what they represent exactly, but maybe if Shanalot is part of that connection, connected to those pieces of darkness, maybe she's like empathy or like goodness, and that's what she represents. I don't know. Just a theory. A game theory. Okay, so anyways, I'm done enough babbling. Let's take on Nishandra.
Undead. You have
The cutscene's different now, and I actually like that. Okay, I don't remember her. She's not a terribly, stupidly hard boss either, but you gotta be careful. I know you're doing a thing, and I forget what she does. Yeah, I forget. Do these beacons curse you, or... I forget. I thought these things did something. Yeah, we're carving through her health. She's not a terribly difficult boss either, and that's just not me talking from a player at level 171. She's not terribly difficult. What am I at? 173 now, I think? She's got pretty standard attacks. The worst thing is, like, the curse, but there's ways around that. Okay, I should just back up a little bit. That's fair. Okay. Well, not terribly hard boss, and yet I got her down to half... I died, but I got her down to half health if I had just backed up a little bit and thought smarter. But, okay, we'll get back to her. Try it again. Oh, I forgot the curse does... That's what cursing does. That just... Yeah. Well, if we don't die to her in the first place... Actually, if we're in the crown, we won't become hollow, so that's... Won't affect us, but I need the defense. Alright, try it again. Again, she's not terribly grueling. We'll get her. I just gotta watch the curse, but I got human effigies to spare, so if I just slash at her and try and get her over with as soon as possible. It's not like petrification. Okay, a little bit. Crap. Yeah, that was my fault. Oh, geez. Okay, there we go. There's the... Yeah, maybe having the crown equip would be really good for this. For some reason, it didn't register to me like, oh yeah, curse is bad. Actually, that's not a bad plan. Hold on. Can I bait her into using that beam again? Nope, she's just summoning more things, but we already almost got her. And goodbye, Dark Queen. I was going to say something mean, but I'll be nice. Don't want to be as mean as her. And there we have it.
Many monarchs have come and gone.
There he is.
One drowned in poison, others succumbed to flame. Still another slumbers in the realm of ice. Not one of them stood here as you do now. You, conqueror of adversities. Is your answer?
Oh, jeez. Aldia. Aldia Scholar. Okay, the battle just starts. Yep, we have to fight him. Okay, and I did... Oh, God. Okay, we're going to quickly, because we got souls, run away. And yep, Aldia is the true final boss added via the Scholar of the First Sin. Yeah, as part of the DLC, and he gives us access to a second ending. But for right now, I'm going to run to Majula real quick and cash in those souls, because I don't think she'll do it here. Okay, we're back here. Head back in the door. Let's go take on Aldia for real. Aldia, Scholar of the First Sin. Apparently, I've never fought him before. apparently from what I've read, he's a brutal boss, but he's not excruciatingly difficult. But I guess I shall be the judge. Okay, he's got pretty good resistance like that. Okay, maybe it's best when I... Yeah. Maybe when he's kind of like smothered out like that, maybe that's the best time to attack. Is he gonna throw that, or is he just gonna burst from the ground? What are you doing, man? Woo! Jesus. Okay. So I basically gotta wait for him to wither out. Is probably the best moment to attack, I think. And I did look into it. Apparently lightning was his weakness too, and I have lightning still equipped to my sword since the Ivory King. So we already got the super effectiveness against him. It's going pretty good so far. Again, I guess he got brutal attacks, but he's not the hardest thing to fight, which is fine by me. If we can wrap up today, or tonight, it'd be great. Whoop. Oh god, oh god, oh god! Yeah, and what is he, the scholar of the first... What sin is the first? I've talked about it way back when. It's been a long time the more I think about it, but there is a theory, or at least my theory is, he's the scholar of the first sin being Gwyn's lighting of the first flame. As, again, in hindsight, I realize it's done way more harm than good, as the Age of Fire is really just to undercut the Age of Man, and, you know, to undercut the Age of Man, so humans can't rule because he doesn't want them ruling a world that he created. Which, you know, political joke, you know what the joke is, but but for my purposes, so maybe he was researching into it, why it became this, I don't know, or if I'm right at all, I'm not sure. But, anyways, why he's fighting us, I'm not entirely sure. Maybe he agrees with Gwyn, or... Actually, no. Fighting him gives us the option to... Never mind. Anyways, we almost got him. A couple of brutal attacks, but nothing we can't handle. Nothing after the DLC phases me. Thank you, Aldia. Your teachings are invaluable. They really are. And yeah, we get no souls from him. This is the final...
And remain here patiently. The throne will certainly receive you. But the question remains. Would you tell me? Light, dark, or something else entirely?
In this moment, I want this. So yeah, originally when you beat the game, the Throne of Want opens to you, and that's how I got it the first time. But this time, after beating Aldia, you had the option to just leave. Like before, continue the Age of Fire, or bring about the Age of Dark. And I've had my perspective change quite a bit. Back in the first game, for the longest time, until basically this year when I really thought about certain things a little bit more, I thought that the Age of Fire was like a signal of hope. That lighting it would continue, you know, it may have been the Age of Gods, but humans could rise up to become gods from the hardships and the disaster that the world brought upon them, and rise up to be that beacon to relight hope, and yeah, continue on. But yeah, again, as I realize, maybe that's wrong. As really, the Age of Fire is just to keep men down. Like, literally keep them suspended. And the lighting of the fire made us less human because our age never happened. The natural order was messed with by Gwyn, who selfishly wanted to keep his age going, and therefore brought about the undead curse and, you know, took a part of humanity away. And that's why we're undead. Why we can die, when I guess humans can be immortal if weren't for that, I'm not sure. But yeah, we die over and over and over again, losing parts of ourselves over and over and over again, and that's why we set out to do this, is because we wanted to try and find a cure to become human again. And we did, but it's false. And so, the Age of Fire has done nothing but hinder humanity. So, we walk towards the darkness. Want not the throne of want.
There's no path. Beyond this kingdom, beyond reach of time. One could possibly reach us. And yet we seek it insatiably, such as our fears.
And there we have it. That was Dark Souls 2, Scholar of the First Sin. Yep, okay. So, yeah, after my big spiel about humanity and such. But anyways, yeah. So, in the end, I do have mixed feelings about Dark Souls 2. Because I do still genuinely believe, looks like credits are just going to go and I can't skip them. Maybe not till later. Anyways, I genuinely do believe Dark Souls 2 is, how do I phrase this? Underrated? That might be the wrong word, but I do believe that it is the black sheep of the series that doesn't deserve all the hate it gets, because it really does do a lot of really good things. And, you know, it's got some interesting stuff. I do like the idea of the story where it really, it sets upon you that the undead curse is just getting worse and worse and worse. That's why you lose health, when you die more often, to a degree. And again, that can be annoying at times, but, you know, I can look past it. As, yeah, you're losing more and more of yourself, so Drang Lake is like a beacon of maybe there's a chance, as I've gone into this a bunch. But when that's not true, and, you know, ultimately that want leads us to seek the throne, as maybe, again, I'm not entirely sure how connecting to that throne connects you to the first flame, but I don't know. But, anyways, as, yeah, I've gone into it enough, Vendrick. You can as a player, you can kind of relate to Vendrick quite a lot, because he was also, as Gwyn, he kind of relates to Gwyn, because he was also scared. He was scared what the dark could bring, that the fire was all. But he eventually realized, oh no, this isn't working. The light is what brought about this curse, and maybe it needs to stop. We don't know. But he just knew he couldn't let a dark creature like Nishandra get to the first flame and possibly bring about an even worse fate. Or no, he was talking about fire a bit. I'm just rambling because there's so much there is so much in Dark Souls to unpack. But yeah, and eventually it leads us on this path of, you know, do we want to relight the flame again? Because in hindsight, it is what perpetuates this darkness, this just depression of humanity. And even if we leave it alone, you know, we're just wandering off into the dark blindly, but that's also kind of like a very human thing, where it's like, we're just gonna push through no matter what, one way or another. You know, and I genuinely do believe that is something that makes humanity great, is being that determination. It's Undertale. You know, determination is what sets us apart from not monsters. I'm being too specific from Undertale, but determination is what pushes us through even like the darkest of darkness and the most painful of burning flames. You get my drift? Am I making sense? But yeah, Dark Souls 2 does a lot of interesting things, and don't get me wrong, Scholar of the First Sin, especially, because it's got remixed monsters and a lot more monsters, there is a way to counter that. Like, here's going to be a dismissive piece of advice. To deal with all the ganking enemies, don't get ganked. I know that's dismissive and kind of a douchey thing to say, but the more dismissive thing to say would be get good, you know? As, you know, there are ways around that, and it is kind of fun where in Dark Souls you can at one point take like a hack and slash approach and just plow through enemies. That's kind of a fun thing that you eventually get to. And you do get used to it, as you do think like, okay, how can I be more patient? How can I fight more tactically? How can I use my weapons at my disposal? Can I use the environment against the enemy? And that's really interesting. And not all the bosses are like superly gruelingly hard, like the Royal Rat groups, the Vanguard and the what was the other thing? I forget. Or was it Opus Magnus, or yeah, Magnus, point being. And yeah, there aren't a lot of there are, well, quite a bit of bosses, Covetous Demon, Mira, even the final ones, that aren't super gruelingly hard. And that's fine. I kind of like that, because it does make you feel like there are a lot of small steps that go into this bigger piece of progression. So it feels good to like sometimes have like a smooth ride or another piece of the puzzle that makes you... It's nice to have like things that fit... It's nice that small things can feel big. I think that's the best way to phrase it. Where it's like the smaller, easier bosses are just like, it's a good feeling of like, okay, I got through another thing, and, you know, it didn't have to be world-ending. So, yeah, I do feel like, you know, people like to mock Dark Souls 2 because, like, ganky bosses, bosses that go in groups, or some of them are too easy, or there's too many. There might be too many bosses, sure, I can agree with that. But I also don't mind that some of the bosses are easy, because, like, that's fine, you know? None of them are like pinwheel easy, but what am I saying? No, okay. My point being is like, it is still satisfying to beat a boss no matter how simple. Maybe if you go over and over again, in hindsight, it goes like, oh, this is boring, stupid. Dark Souls is supposed to be hard, and I don't like that mentality. Dark Souls is hard, and to a degree, there is a feeling of accomplishment you can get from that. But you can also get a feeling of that accomplishment from the small things, you know? And yeah, so I don't mind, like, a lot of that. There are moments, though. There are some areas, like No Man's Wharf, I can't think of them right now, or in the DLC areas, where there can be, like, too many enemies, especially in some areas where, like, you gotta make a good run in order to get to a boss. And then there's the DLC, which, again, you could probably catch my difference in tone from before the DLC. I was up there, I was excited, I was happy. I'm like, okay, I'm really getting into this. Then the DLC happened, and I'm just like, went down to like, oh god, I got angry. Sunken Crown wasn't too bad. Iron Crown, and then when it came to like the latter half of Ivory Crown, I kind of lost my mind. Specifically for like the frigid... Yeah, mainly specifically for the Ivory Crown, it was the frigid outskirts, which was small, but it felt so heavy on top of everything else. Because I did like the Ivory King boss fight, that was cool. But then, like, the Iron Crown, that really broke me down. That, from what good mood I was in, especially after beating Sin in the Sunken Valley, I go, this is Sunken Crown, this is going great. And then the Iron Crown... Oh my god, I cannot express how down on myself I was, or like just how angry I felt by trying to get through that DLC. Because Fume Knight, again, probably one of the hardest Dark Souls bosses in recent memory for me. It took me almost 2 hours of brawling him to finally get past him. But then it turns out he was the final boss. But then there was Smelter Knight 2.0, or Smelter Demon 2.0. Sir Alone, who had gauntlets in order to lead up to him, and had like super powerful things and abilities, and were super tough to beat regardless. Alone didn't take me as much time as Smelter Demon, and Smelter Demon didn't take me nearly as long as Fume Knight, but it was still like, yeah, those guys really took me down. And so when things were kind of like shaping up in Ivory King with Ava, she, a little annoying, but got past her. It's like, okay, that's kind of a cool conceit. And then like the frigid outskirts, and it's like, this is just monstrously bullcrap. And again, that was something that was, again, I guess, what I was saying about, like, a small thing can feel great. A small thing like that, and, like, Lud, and Zalin can feel, a small thing like them can feel so bad, and that's a shame. Because there are a lot of really cool things about the DLC. Sunken Crown is the environmental puzzle solving. Iron King has, like, the ashen enemies that you can take out those or those, like, idols of the queen. Ivory King had, like, the snow and, you know, how that built up. And it had, I actually did like the small story, the small arc that was there with the queen and the king. And I like that king boss fight. That was cool. Because, again, there are also some really good boss fights in this. Like, I'll hold up the Ivory King. He was cool. A lot of even the simple boss fights, people also like to complain, dudes in armor, a big boss fight, but those are also good boss fights. Looking Glass Knight, Volstrad, oh god, sorry, I'm very tired, I'm very hungry, I'm actually starting to get a little bit of a headache.
Bearer of the curse, I will always be at your side, until hope has fully withered.
Well, as far as I am now, I'm officially the new matriarch or monarch, matriarch.
It is never truly dead, but only one step closer to hollowing. Not all undead are hollows, but all hollows were once undead.
Yeah. No, yeah. Oh yeah, begin Journey 2 to Dren Lake. That's basically New Game Plus, which I do like that you can do New Game Plus. That you can do New Game Plus after, you know, you can choose to start it. Which also kind of gives you, like, maybe a sign, like, cycle is just going to repeat over and over and over again. Anyways, but yeah, there were some annoying areas, don't get me wrong, and there were some annoying boss fights, but I feel like with a lot of things, there was, yeah, Iron Keep, that place also drove me nuts. Something about the iron themed things drive me nuts. But that was annoying. Belfry Soul, which was kind of annoying because of one of the Belfry Souls at the Lost Bastille. But there were also, like, a lot of really cool boss fights. I got upset at the Lost Sinner, but in reality, that's kind of a cool boss fight. And even though I hated fighting the Ruined Knights, that's kind of like another interesting boss fight where it's like, okay, there is a way to beat this, you just gotta be patient. You gotta practice that. Which, you know, Dark Souls does that quite a bit. And simple bosses like the Giant Lord. Yeah. There's a lot here, and I'm kind of fumbling over my words. Again, I am very tired, I am very hungry, and I should just wrap up. But no, there is a lot to like here, and I think there's more bad than good. Pushing through certain things like the DLC, maybe, I don't know, because as cool as some of the stuff is there, I don't know if it's worth it. And also, again, depending on, because I've been going strength weapon build. I've been using the falchion for a long time, probably half the Let's Play, maybe even longer. But yeah, so some bosses I had problems with, or certain areas I had problems with, because, you know, I'm a strength build. I'm a warrior type. I used a sword. I, you know, never used a spell.
Hello again.
I gave her, yeah, Rosabeth. I gave her the stuff I got from the Covenant, or Abyss Covenant. Oh yeah, I can check out my altar. I specifically disconnected from the internet just so I could check my total. So throughout this Let's Play, I've died 412 times. Not all of them are on camera, but to get me through in a little over 40 hours, because I did check the time before I started, and it didn't take me much longer. So yeah, I'll just go to it, because I can do it real quick. So yeah, I have died. So I just start up Skull of the First Sin. Anyways, we'll get a good ending shot here. Continue. Level 175 in a little over 41 hours. It took me, and that's still faster, and I did so much more than my very first playthrough, which was up there. 43 hours at like level 120. And again, that was without doing any of the DLC or things like Dark Lurker. I did not know that was a thing until doing research, and that surprised me. But that was also a really cool boss fight. So yeah, there is a lot more to like in Dark Souls 2 than I think there is to hate. I think it has been gaining, you know, a little bit more recognition and more, like, love thanks to people like H-Bomber Guy and Vati Vidya. And yeah, I do think that if you slept on or didn't like Dark Souls 2, I encourage you, give it another try, because there really is so much here that is genuinely good. And despite a lot of my groaning, grumbling, and raging, you know, I still really enjoyed this playthrough, even if there were moments that just made me feel terrible for a long while. But yeah, with that, you know, Dark Souls 2. It is still, I still think it is a good Dark Souls game. Because I've heard people go, like, it's a good game, but it's not a good Dark Souls game. I completely disagree with that. That is nonsense. But yeah, I'm sure there's stuff I'm missing, because there is so much to talk about in this game, and I cannot think of any more, because I am so tired. But yeah, we got through it. Oh, God. Ugh. Seriously, I cannot wait to play Pokemon Shield. After that, I got so much editing to do, but after we're done with this, I wanted to play Pokemon Shield to take a little break from something hard, but this did take a lot of energy. This honestly did take a lot longer than I expected, but also, like, it didn't go as bad as I thought. Well, up until the DLC. But, yeah, for now, I'm going to stand next to my Herald, as she has pushed me through a lot of this. Wearing the armor of the King's Most Loyal Knight, because that's basically the a duty I've taken over for. Oop, nope. Put the pants back on in front of a cute girl. Don't put them back on. As that is a duty I've taken over, a knight for the king, to try and do my best to save his kingdom from the darkness that tried to take over. And there we go. I think I've expressed that enough. I do like the story aspects of of the story in Dark Souls 2, because it's really cool. You got Vendrick's whole storyline that you can learn about more of this stuff more organically than in, you know, I'm not going to compare because that's not true, but the story is really interesting, and I do like the progression of, like, how you learn about this stuff and how it comes together. Yeah, I like the story in Dark Souls 2. I think it does a lot of good things. You know, I'm not sure. Does this, maybe after this playthrough, do I like it more than Dark Souls 1? I'm not sure. It's definitely not, you know, it's definitely not my favorite, but that's because it's got to try to compete with Bloodborne, and no Souls game is ever going to compete with Bloodborne, except if they ever make Bloodborne 2. But, okay, but yeah, I do like Dark Souls. Dark Souls 2, it is up there, probably, maybe above Dark Souls 1, I'm not sure. Because, again, probably some of the things in DLC were so utterly grueling that, you know, it kind of did burn me a little bit. Iron Crown. But then again, you know, this is technically my only second time beating this all the way through. But at the same time, again, it was exciting to re-explore and rediscover this game. And, you know, there was a thrill about, like, finding a boss I forgot about, or finding out a storyline, or an item, or cool stuff I forgot about. It was fun rediscovering the world of Drangleic and the kingdoms that rose and fell alongside it because of Gwyn's sin. Yeah, I've been going on for quite a while, but I think it's time we wrap up. Dark Souls 2, if you're a Souls fan, I encourage you, give this another try. It really does do a lot of great things, I feel. And yeah, then there's Dark Souls 3, which is even better, maybe. I'll have to replay, it's been a while, but yeah, I'll get to that eventually, but not now, not now. I need a break from this. But yes, Dark Souls 2, I still hold is really good, so I encourage you to give it a try if you already haven't, or if you slept on it, or dropped it early on when it came out, or whenever you got to play it. So yeah, I guess that's it. We're gonna wrap up. Standing next to Beskar. Anyway, I feel like that devalued everything I just said. Okay. Anyways, I'm thinking, I'm the new monarch, and maybe she will be my new queen. I don't know, that's my headcanon. If she is a part of darkness, it makes sense, but it doesn't matter. We got through it all. So, with that all being said, thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Actually, wait, can I do something? I just thought of something. Can I? Okay, I just trying to, like, hide the HUD. There we go. That's a good shot. I'm gonna have to take a picture of that. So, yeah. With that all being said, sorry, voice is starting to go because it's so late. Okay. But yeah, Dark Souls 2, really good. It really is. So with that all being said, thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Like and subscribe and all that. This is Timmara, signing off. And thank you for watching me play Dark Souls 2, Scholar of the First Sin.